So this is my review for Mr. McMahon, the Vince McMahon documentary, part 5, and I have to say this one right here really this was the penultimate, and this was where some shit went down, and this was where your stomach kind of turned a little bit and your blood started to boil because it starts off with him talking about his kids. And now keep in mind this interview was recorded in 2021, which would be like a full, maybe it was before he left the first time, I believe. Um, Definitely before the Janelle Grant allegations came out. And we have proof that the Janelle Grant allegations, some of that stuff did take place. We have the text messages. Um, a couple things here. I was surprised Brock Lesnar wasn't mentioned more than he was. B, I'm surprised they even mentioned Chris Benoit at all. C, the walkout of Stone Cold Steve Austin is mentioned, but very, very briefly. Um, but they start off talking about Vince and his kids and the relationship with his kids and the relationship with his wife and how he met his wife. And the moment where my fist really wanted to just punch this guy in the face is where he's sitting here talking about how he openly loves his wife. He goes, I met her, I love her. I told her that I always love her and life would never be boring with me. Well, you lived up to the second part, that's for sure. But here is a man who is openly in the process of paying a woman off who he slept with, who he passed around like a toy, who again, it takes two to tango. She's not totally innocent in this. She could have walked away at any time, job be damned. She only started talking when the money stopped rolling in. But, it reminds me of when Joey Styles cut that famous interview where he quote unquote quit. And he's like, he flaunts his affairs in public. That's a line that always, kind of stuck with me. He flaunts his affairs in public and he mocks God. So and then so he's openly sitting there going, I love my wife. I always will love my wife. Meanwhile, I'm looking at this guy going, you're a son of a bitch. You really are. You really are. And they really tear Shane McMahon apart in this episode. They really do. They talk about Shane being against his mother being on TV and how he was always kind of the one that was level headed. And they go into him leaving the company and why he left the company. Because Shane knew then, as turns out, that it was time for Vince McMahon to step aside. He knew then. And Paul Heyman tells a story, which I won't go into detail because I want you to listen to it from Paul Heyman's mouth about how Vince pretty much said, take your shot and kill me because that's the only way you're ever going to get control of this company. It's the only way you're ever going to get your way 100%. And if you don't take your shot, then I know that you don't have the guts. You don't have what it takes to run this company. This man said this and did this to his own son. And Stephanie kind of takes another approach. Oh, he's Vince at the office. He's dad when I'm at home. But you could tell for Shane that it was kind of, that's my dad. That's my mom. They go into him having many affairs, openly kissing other women. They go into the whole Trish Stratus barking like a dog storyline, and it kind of gets shoveled off like, Yeah, he kissed me and he made me bark like a dog and take my clothes off, but I got revenge. And Trish doesn't seem bothered by that. Of all people, Trish Stratus, the one that was made to do these crazy things, does not seem bothered by it at all. So I guess if she's not bothered by it, we can't be really bothered by it either. Um, and she's talking about how people still bring up in interviews how he degraded you, and we felt sick watching it. And Trish is like, "Good, that's the way we wanted you to feel." Now I've always felt this about pro wrestling. They have this woman on there, um, Shannon Mazer, I think her name is. This woman is. I've never heard of this woman in all my life. I have no idea where this, hello pot on kettle, but I have no idea where this Jabba the Hutt lookalike came from. But every time this woman pops up on the screen, I just look at her and go, "Who the fuck are you?" She's sitting there openly talking about how they blur the lines and, oh, it's okay just because it's wrestling when it's not really okay. And I'm just like, guys, you don't have a problem with Tom Cruise, or whoever the hot young, okay, let's say it was Colin Jost and Scarlett Johansson. They're a couple in real life in Hollywood. You would not have a problem if they were in a movie together as a married couple and Jost had an affair on his wife. You wouldn't approach Colin Jost on the street and go, "Fuck you, you son of a bitch." So why is this done to wrestlers? Well, they portray it as real. Well, so does everybody on Law and Order portray their shit that they read off the script as real. And the shit that they act is real. Ice-T isn't actively going, well, I shouldn't say he's going out there and actively shooting people because Lord knows what he did in the former life. But nowadays, he ain't out there actively shooting people. He's not a cop. These guys are wrestlers. Yes, they may use their real names, but I can differentiate between the two when it comes to character and storyline. There's a lot of people out there that don't, and they're stupid for it. But when Vince is sitting there openly talking about, oh, this is a character, and then we read about things he's done outside the company and has used company money to pay for it, then it gets a little bit blurry. Then they go into they actually show footage of Vince dancing with his daughter at Stephanie's wedding. That was a wow moment for me. I was like, "Whoa." Couldn't believe that. We go into the Stephanie Triple H dynamic and how he really, Shane was adamantly against it and Vince kind of warmed up to it and in interviews that Shane does now, he still seems like he's not really for it. But anyway, um a lot of this footage we already saw in the McMahon DVD, so I won't go into much of it there. Um, they go into them going public on Wall Street, and this is one thing that's always killed me. They went public in late '99, I believe it was, early 2000, and yet they still did a lot of stuff during the rest of the Attitude Era and even the Ruthless Aggression Era. They were a public traded company when Trish Stratus was on her knees barking like a dog. That's why I should have. That's why I say this whole thing should have been titled McMahon asterisk, and then underneath another time. So another time, different values, because that seems to be the theme and the excuse for all this stuff that's gone on with WWE. I, for one, I look at it as humanity's humanity. This whole crap of, oh, we're in a different time, different age, so we got to act differently. Bullshit. Why was it so right then, but it's wrong now? That's what kills me. And nobody can really come up with an answer for it. They were a publicly traded company then, and they did all that stuff then. So why is it not okay for them to do it now? I wish somebody would explain it. Explain that to me in the comments below. This is the same Earth. The Earth still spins the same way. The Earth hasn't started spinning in the opposite direction. I don't get it. Um, and then at the end of this, they go into a lot of stuff here that just made me. It's one thing if he was divorced from Linda, and it begs the question of, since he came out in that Playboy interview and said, yes, I've had affairs with different women, why didn't she divorce him then? Say a command. I said divorce, not voice, you stupid GPS. Anyway, why didn't she, divorce him then? Say a command. It did it again. What the hell? Apparently, I can't say the word divorce without my GPS thinking I'm saying voice. Um. Anyway, it's getting ready to turn off. I turned it off. But my thing is, you know, why didn't she divorce him then? Why doesn't she file divorce from him now? You have the ultimate proof in this day and age. Back then, you really didn't have a whole lot of text messaging back in like 99, 2000. Now you have NDAs that you could bring up in court. Why isn't she divorcing this man and stealing? She could have saved the company a long time ago. And things could be so much different, which leads me to the number one thing that pisses me off about this episode is that Vince McMahon had no intention of ever leaving this company to his family. And that's become more evident now with TKO buying it. They even go into Shane was going to try to do something on his own, which was buy UFC. And Vince didn't want to do it because he didn't feel like Shane could handle it. Well, and he didn't want to be involved in that business, in the MMA business. Our business, we have storylines. Their business, you get hurt or you get knocked out and that's it. Your career's over. And I'm just like, dude, you inevitably sold that shit to UFC. The same company that owns UFC owns you. They've gotten rid. And Shane McMahon, oh my God. Shane McMahon even talks about how, it would have been so easy for us to transition. We already had live events people, marketing people, set designers, doctors. They had it all. They could have just had a smooth transition. And it's very ironic hearing him say that then in 2021 when these interviews took place, as opposed to now when what happened, lots of people at WWE have lost their jobs. Everybody in the live event department, everybody in the damn marketing department, everybody in the damn video production department has pretty much lost their jobs because UFC came in. They already had all the irony is laughable in this episode. How ironic. What a tangle web this bastard has weaved. That's what pisses me off. It should be Stephanie and Shane running that company as co-CEOs right now, not Ari Emanuel and Nick fucking Khan. Yes, Triple H is still there. Triple H is kind of running it all from a creative standpoint, but it should be Shane and Stephanie there, man. They earned it. Whether Vince McMahon wants to believe that they could have carried it on or not, they earned the right, man. That's their birthright. So we're getting ready to go into the final episode here. And again, I'm recording these right after I watch them. So I have not seen episode 6 yet. But man, the name of this episode is called Family Business. It should have just been called, I'm going to screw over my family out of their inheritance, out of their birthright, out of their company that they helped me build. Because whether you like it or not, Vince, Shane, whether you want to give them credit for it or not, your wife, who should be your ex-wife, Linda McMahon, if you ever listen to this, if anybody ever has a port or a conduit to get to Linda McMahon, please tell her to divorce this motherfucker Because if Linda divorces him all the way back then, she probably gets at least half the company. And then her half could have probably stopped this sale. Her half probably could have gotten Shane and, her molded with Shane and Stephanie's 25% each. And why she still hasn't divorced him, I don't know if it's the Trump connection, which they haven't gone into at all here, or not. But my God, that woman needs to, you think of all the women in this world that would have a set of balls, it'd be Vince McMahon's wife. This man has cheated on you and flaunted his affairs on public because he thinks he's untouchable. Now he's got, NDAs and has paid a woman off, and he screwed your children out of their birthright, what should be rightfully theirs, because he didn't feel like they could do it the same way he did. They didn't feel like he shared his vision. Well, guess what? You didn't share your father's vision, and you bought him out. Linda had a way for those two to buy him out, so to speak, with the, and she hasn't taken it for whatever reason. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This is one hell of an episode, and it ends with, they even talk about the sexual harassment lawsuit with Sable, and it's funny how they bring that up to Vince, and they go, "What about the sexual harassment lawsuit that Sable filed?" "Oh, I don't remember that. That's a blur. The only thing I remember is she came back, so she might have, basically Vince is saying, well, she came back, and we immediately put her into a storyline where she was going to have an affair with me, so she must not have been that hurt by it." And I had the same feelings when she came back. Can't fault Vince McMahon for that one. Anyway, folks, let me know what you think about this episode in the comments below. We'll see you tomorrow for the finale, episode 6.